Well, here we have it, the eve before Valentine's Day. It's what I call the greatest Hallmark day of the year. As the pressure builds today for people to run out and grab gifts for one another, cards. I wonder if people even read the cards that they're picking all the time. I read them. One thing funny about my wife is she likes to underline what she thinks is important on these Hallmark cards, and she literally underlines every sentence. Some words single, triple, circled, lines, because they have an impact. But the funny thing about Valentine's Day is, as we rush out to spend too much money on roses and just stuff, man, is we really want to look at what it really truly means. Maybe it's a good thing to kind of stop the train for a minute and look around and see what we have and who we have in our life. But then there's also a lot of people we got to realize that don't have people to share this day with and loved ones to connect with. And that's a tough day for a lot of people, and we got to realize that and be sensitive to others' needs. So I think one of the cool things is if you could be there for someone else on a day like this, because it's like Christmas. There's people that celebrate and have a blast, but then there's a lot of people out there that don't have someone to celebrate with, and it's a very difficult time. Now, coming from a health perspective, when I think about the heart, is maybe it's a good time to analyze how healthy is your heart from a physiological standpoint. Is it connected? Is it doing what it needs to do? How's your heart rate? How's your there's things they talk about, your heart rate variability, which I used to think was kind of foo-foo-y. But one of the coolest things I did for myself to look after my heart, because I'm pretty much nonstop going all the time, and I'm very good at not taking care of myself, or I should say I used to be, when I was so focused on the mission and taking care of others and just going full throttle. And I had to stop and say, what am I doing here? I got to take care of me. I got to fill my heart, take care of my heart. Now, from a chiropractic standpoint, we know that the brain stem and your neurology takes care of your heart. First and foremost, we got to make sure you're in parasympathetic mode, which is rest and relaxation as much as possible. They do certain workouts like HIIT workouts and CrossFit workouts, which spike your heart rate, drop it to condition it for stress. We want to make sure that our heart could adapt to stress. But one of the biggest things is we want to make sure our heart is restoring, it's healing, it's pumping smoothly, it's relaxed. So one of the things I tell you to do, what I did is I went out and got what's called the Aura Ring. It's a little ring, looks like a wedding band. It's very lightweight, and it measures my heart rate variability, measures my sleep pattern, lets me know how deep I'm sleeping, my REM sleeping. And let me tell you something that's interesting about this thing, because I can go out, now my heart rate variability, the best I've gotten is 112, which is phenomenal. They said you want to be above 90. And what that's indicating is your nervous system and how it's responding and how it's healing between heartbeats and restoring itself. So if you're under a lot of stress, if your body's overtaxed, if you're not taking care of yourself, then your heart rate variability is going to drop. So for example, if I go out on the weekend, I go to the concert, I'm up late, I have a couple drinks, I'll wake up the next day, and it'll give me a warning. Your body temperature's up. Your sleep was off. Your heart rate variability is 42. And it's black and white. I look at those numbers and I go, man. And I always think, put this on an alcoholic and let them see what that stuff's doing to their body. And people who don't want to eat right, and see what the toxins are doing to their body, how it's affecting their heart and its ability to heal. Because here's the deal, and one of the things that I'm often quoted by people is, when I was going through my space of understanding love and slipping and checking my own heart, is love, L-O-V-E, is life's only vital expression. And other than your brain stem, which is the most important part of your entire body, because you've got over 450 million nerve fibers controlling every cell, tissue, organ of your body, the next thing is your heart. Your heart stops, man, you're done. You're toast. You're nothing. But the thing we got to look at is a lot of people's hearts are stopping and they don't realize it, emotionally and physically. Physically, toxic. right? If you're not taking care of yourself, you're not exercising, you're not getting well adjusted so your heart's got proper nerve function so it could do what it needs to do, and that could be represented through heart rate variability. If that thing is just not connected properly, you're slowly dying earlier than you're supposed to. And the other thing is from an emotional standpoint. Where's your heart emotionally? Are you coming from a place of love in your life? Are you waking up today, and when you go give that Hallmark card on Valentine's Day, do you really mean it? Or is it just an action step just to make the other person happy, and you're just looking at the end of the day to get laid at the end of the night? So not that that's such a bad thing, but you should be doing that every night, okay? And not waiting for one day a year to show your love and connectedness and you're just going through the motions. You know what I'm saying, guys? We go through the freaking motions. We've all been there, done that. And one of my biggest things when I got married and started realizing more about myself, maybe how emotionally disconnected I was in certain ways and how hard it was to fill someone's cup the other time. One of the biggest action steps we took, and this shit was painful, was reading the book, The 5 Love Languages. Now, it was tough for me, man, because it's like I wasn't the most sensitive guy, but yet I was. And I was just on the move. I was working. I was hustling. I was doing my thing. And my wife challenged me. We had a conference coming up I was speaking at in Atlanta, and we made the outcome that I was going to read the book before it. Well, lo and behold, it was the night before, and she said, "Have you read the book?" And I said, "No." And man, it was like I stabbed her in the throat. Her face just dropped. I wasn't doing my part. So I said, all right. So I started reading the book that night. The first 2 chapters were absolutely brutal. It was like giving birth for me. And I finished the book on the plane, and it hit me halfway through the book how important this is, because the book talks about our communication style, how we communicate love, how we connect to people. And when you read the 5 love languages, there's tests in it that you'll take that'll let you know how you receive love. So, for example, my wife likes touch, right? And it's not sexual touch. It's just walking over and touching her on the shoulder. And I'm not a touchy-feely guy. Even though I'm a chiropractor and I'm hands-on, I'm not the one to stop and just, like, stroke you or do what, Now I am. Now I had to work at it. I mean, I actually had to put it in my phone, an alert, to go touch my wife. How freaking insane is that? Now, that's talking about go over and put my hand on her back or whatever. And listen, guys, I'm not perfect. I still don't do it enough. There's times when she's like, hello, I'm over here. And I'm like, shit, I'm not fulfilling my role. And, mine is more words of affirmation, I think. It's just, hey, you're doing a good job. Hey, I'm proud of you. Even though I've got a very big, small ego and I'm humble with stuff, it's good to hear it. It fills your cup. It makes you feel connected. So when you understand how your partner, your spouse, your boyfriend, girlfriend, they like to receive their love, it makes it easier. It makes the relationship easier because, like I tell my daughters, relationships aren't easy. Like, marriage is not easy. It's work. It's a full-time job business that you have to be pouring energy into all the time. You're going to mess up a lot. I mess up all the time. And shit, I got yelled at last night. I still don't know why. But it's part of the game. And we just got to connect to it. And I know going into tomorrow, Valentine's Day, I'm like, it's just another freaking day because I'm doing my shit all year long where I don't feel like I have to make up for it on Valentine's Day. You know what I'm saying? I don't have to build it up for the candlelight dinner so I could go ahead and make love for my wife because, oh, you're married. You only have sex 3 times a year. That's another bullshit thing, man. Listen, sex is one of the greatest expressions of life. I mean, one of the most fulfilling things that we could do as human beings. And people make it voodoo. It's not voodoo, man. It's one of the most beautiful expressions of life that you connect with that you got a partner, man. It's free game. It's like you're on. It's like it's every night. It's every morning if you want, right? And I'm tired of hearing men say, "Well, I don't have any more. I'm married." Dude, get your head out of your ass and change that. The reason why is because you're disconnected, right? You see pictures, these little memes with people on opposite sides of the bed because they're disconnected. And they must be married. That change that crap, because when you start connecting on an emotional level and you realize how people receive their love and you fill that cup on a regular basis, man, they can't wait to get naked with you. And you know what? That's what relationships are all about. One of the coolest things for me is we started like hugging in front of the kids, and you see my daughters just smiling, and they think, "Oh, Dad, that's weird," and But it's a constant journey. And listen, I ain't perfect. I am not like the guru with this. You know what I'm saying? But I got 5 kids, and one of my things is to try to make my household as awesome as it could be. And one of the coolest things, what I've always done with my daughters ever since they're little, is they wake up every Valentine's Day to Hershey Kisses and red roses. That's just something I've done, and a card, okay? But it's just something I've wanted to implant in their neurology of just to be excited, and they don't get overexcited. And, my kids are kind of laid back and cool with that. They're kind of like me. But my daughter's off at college right now, and she actually said she cried the other day because she's like, I'm not going to be home for that. And that was kind of neat that she has that implanted, like just that little expression of love and just sharing with her that she knows that her sisters are walking downstairs before school and what our tabletop's going to look like for them. So the little shit doesn't know it, but we're having stuff delivered to school for her because I'm going to continue that. I'm going to continue it until the day I die. It's going to be one of those things that they'll never look at a Hershey Kiss again without thinking of my big ass. How cool is that? And they'll smile. They'll be loving. They'll be dude, that's going to be part of my legacy. It's kind of like I left love behind in my kid's heart, their soul. But they're going to expect the dude coming in their life to treat them like freaking gold, to treat them well. And, I'm tough on my kids. I have tough love, but I love them dearly. I love on them all the time. I tell them how awesome they are. And I expect their husband to as well. And if future husband's listening to this, I'll kick your ass if you don't treat my daughter well. So that's a side note. So here's the deal. Take care of your heart, man. Take care of yourself. Take care of your family. But take care of yourself. That's number one. Because if you feel like crap, if I'm not taking care of myself, I don't feel well. I'm not the best husband. I'm not the best dad. I'm not the best chiropractor. I'm just not the best guy. And if I'm not well, other people are going to get hurt. And I don't want to do that. So take care of your heart. Love your heart. Embrace your heart. Right? See your heart relaxed and healthy and pure and loving and nurturing. Right? Slip and check it. Find different things. My buddy Diego, who we did a podcast with, he wears a watch that measures his heart rate variability. I think some Apple watches do it. I like the Aura Ring. It's a cool thing. I bought one for my wife. I want my friends to all get it. Why? Because it creates accountability to how you're taking care of you. So this Valentine's Day, man, stop the train, add something to it. You know what? Add heart rate variability. If you're not getting adjusted, if you're around here, get into my office. Let's take care of your Atlas because that's going to drop your blood pressure immediately. Yale came out with a study that an Atlas adjustment will drop your blood pressure 10 points immediately. So we got people coming in on blood pressure medication, and they're getting off it over time because their body's restoring itself. That's just side notes, man. This little rant is just about you. You being you, taking care of that heart, taking care of your family, taking care of your loved ones. And listen, you're going to screw up. I do it every day. I'm really good at it. But I forgive me, I love me, and I'm taking care of me. So have a rocking day. Be blessed, people. Love you. God bless you.